Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host for today's broadcast, named Leo 13, as we're preparing to get underway here for the 7th round of this season of X2 here at Monaco. And for the first time in many weeks here, we are going to be looking at a full grid today. 18, well, nearly a full grid, 18 drivers going into this race. Now, going into it, though, there will be some drivers serving penalties that will keep them from being allowed to qualify, so that will need to be considered first up. However, 3 rounds of qualifying, and all 3 of these rounds will matter. So Q1, you're going to have 17 drivers, technically 18, but realistically 17, fighting for 15 positions. 2 drivers will end up getting knocked out. The first driver to get onto the circuit is going to be the Mercedes of, who is that? That is XRL 19. 19, long-time runner in X2. He's going to try and get out there, set a lap early on, and try to get the track, hope that the track is clear enough that he won't have to worry about any sort of aerodynamic wake from other cars as we get underway here. Now, here at Monaco, things are a little bit different than it is other circuits here. The track is very fast, but also very slow. There's not a whole lot of full-speed corners here. Aerodynamics, while important, aren't as important as you think. The hard and medium tire compounds can actually go a very long period of time here simply because there aren't so many high-speed corners where the aerodynamics are putting extra pressure on the tires. It's not to say that you can just be willy-nilly with the tires, obviously, but tire survival for the harder compounds are going to be significantly longer here than it would at other places. Ideal tire strategy today is going to be either hard to medium or medium to hards. XRL Hazda and Ryan Hurricane both serving qualifying bans, so they will not be advancing out of the first round of qualifying. 16 drivers fighting for 15 positions here. Frankly, for a lot of these drivers, I think the idea is just going to be get out onto the circuit, set a lap as quickly as possible, and then immediately retire into the pits, hopefully assuming that there will be accidents from other people that will keep them from advancing. 19 coming to the final 2 corners. We're going to go silent for a lap. I'm right on board with XRL 19 here. See what a lap is like around Monaco from on board the Mercedes car. Well, so much for that. He invalidated right away in the very first corner. This here is XRL Shikari. Shikari is in the Red Bull as he is navigating his way out of the hairpin through this not quite 90-degree corner and will now take his way through the tunnel. In X3, the first 2 rounds of qualifying were under wet conditions, but that tunnel stays dry simply because, rain can't exactly fall in a tunnel. Due to that, that can actually end up being a little bit of a setup issue in the event of changing weather conditions. However, clean sunny scenario right now actually means that that tunnel is one of the areas you'll see the top speed on the entire circuit here. So we're going to go ahead, ride silently on board with Shikari here for a lap and see what a lap is like here around Monaco in the Red Bull machine. Oh, an accident! That's not 19, that was Maddie. Maddie has had an accident in the middle of his qualifying run. Now, he is able to continue, but with that damage, you have to go again. We are going to get a lap on board with somebody sometime. I swear on it. But it's a lot harder than you think because of how active and crazy this race has been, this qualifying has been thus far. And with now 19 drivers, so Airmax has joined us, so now 19 drivers mean that we'll have 17 drivers going for 15 positions. As we turn our focus once more to Shikari, as he comes down through the Novell chicane here, plants the car right on the inside curbs, but has kept it clean, kept it legal, and the track is relatively clear in front and behind him. Oh, very close to the outside wall there. Still tossing it through these corners. And as he comes out of the final one, nice clean exit, he will set a time of 1:12.497. That puts Shikari on the top of the timesheets. First driver to do so today. XRL Breezy has come out on circuit. He is on an out lap. This is fine. Waldo. We're right on board with the Ferrari for a lap now. And Fine Waldo has aborted his lap for some reason. That was a great lap, but he aborted it for some reason. Huh. Only one driver has set a time, and we're already 6 minutes through this first round of qualifying. Although, as I say that, now we see Herbie cross the line. Herbie had a top 5 run going in X3 before crashing out. He'll set a time of 1:13.807. 19 is coming to the line. He's going to try and get a time in. This is Breezy we're following around the circuit right now. He's already burned through most of his ERS, though, interestingly enough. Coming to the line, Breezy will set a 1:13.038 at the line. That's good enough for second fastest. 19 has now begun his run here. Clean track ahead for the Mercedes. Jabaston is on that lap. This is Kinsey Retro, who normally broadcasts the X1 series, but due to attendance issues, X1 has folded. Kinsey is now free to pursue driving full-time in X2 if he so chooses. He comes down to the line. He'll set a 1:15.771. Veloce in the middle of an outlap, as is Air Max. X-Rail Torpedo, former champion in the X3 tier. He's in the middle of a lap right now, but he is coming up really rapidly on what looks to be a Williams ahead. And this could end up compromising his run here. He'll get a tow from the Williams through the tunnel, but he'll lose a bunch of time in the high-speed braking zones, and the Williams will actually move out of the way, kindly enough. And an Aston Martin has had an issue. Is that Neon or is that Breezy? That is Neon who has had an issue coming to the line, but Neon goes to the top, so maybe it was Breezy then. But Neon has just gone to the top, 112.315. This is X-Rail Flavor. He has run as many races this weekend as possible. It started out really rough for him, but he's come out with a 4th place finish in the X3 race earlier today. Now we're going to see if maybe he can go for podium here in X2. Shikari goes up to second, 112.497. Here comes Flavor. Through the final 2 corners. Pops up in the DRS, lays on the ERS, and at the line, Flavor will set a time, 1:15.013. Veloce in the middle of his lap. Waldo and Lowe are both on outlaps right now. Waldo had an absolutely great lap going earlier, but aborted it. This is Air Max in the Williams. He is on a lap himself. Jabaston and Zola both on laps. Jean completes his lap, 112.841. That's good enough for 4th at the moment. Crash! Ferrari! Is that Waldo? Yes, that is Waldo, who has had an incident there coming into the swimming pool. He's back completely out of it. And I have to wonder, is he going to go for another one, or is he going to go ahead and pit? Veloce goes to the top in the 11s, 111.522. That's the fastest lap we've seen thus far this weekend, as Waldo is going to go for another run at it. Doesn't seem like there's any damage to the Ferrari. McLaren, accident, that's Lowe, coming out of Casino. He gets out of the way quickly enough, and an Alfa Romeo is allowed to pass. That will be the Alfa Romeo of Veloce, who's on a cooldown lap right now. So 12 drivers have already set their times. No one is in the 114s at this point, interestingly enough. And that means that it is X-Rail Flavor and Kinsey Retro right now who are on the bubble and most likely to get squeezed out. Zola has set a 113.989. And Waldo invalidates in the Nouvelle chicane. Low farther up the circuit is struggling with a wounded car. Very nearly just speared it into a wall there. He'll keep it out of it. Good job on his part. But Waldo and Lowe struggling to get laps in. Matty was here and X-Rail Pelli have yet to come out on track and attempt to set laps. So a moment of relief Pella navigating through Nobel. But he is on a cooldown lap right now, and Fine Waldo retires in the pit lane. So they aren't going to bother trying to advance. That's an interesting strategy, and I'm really curious as to what the point of that is, considering how hard it's actually going to be to overtake here. So Low, Maddie, and Pelly all fighting to get a lap in so they can knock Flavor and Retro out. As the track is now at one of its calmest points thus far today, Herbie now coming back out onto the circuit. He has a 113.807 right now. And he must feel that there is a risk that a lot of drivers are going to improve in the subsequent laps. So he's going to be one of only 2 drivers on track trying to improve. As the McLaren of XRLO finally coming out onto the circuit. Herbie crossing the line, beginning his flyer. We'll ride on board with Low for a lap, see what he can put together this time around. And Low sets a 113.121. So at the moment, Kinsey has retired, and he has the slowest time thus far. So Kinsey, more than likely, is not going to advance unless something happens to Maddie and Pelly. Maddie has still not made it out onto the track to attempt a lap here. As 19 crosses the line to begin another flyer, Zola is going to cross the line, but he is not able to improve this time. Pelly on track, trying to get an outlap in. And the way this is looking out, Flavor might be able to advance simply off the back of Retro's retirement, and then the fact that Waldo also retired before he even tried to get a lap, was able to get a lap in. Top 5 on the timesheets have already retired from the session. They know that they're safe and locked in. AlphaTauri of Pelly pounding out the laps now. '19 has just jumped up to 5th with a 112.824 at this moment. Pelly still in the middle of his lap, trying to set his first time of the day, 53.224 out of Sector 2. Through swimming pool. And to the line for the AlphaTauri, it'll be a lap time of 1:11.776. And second fastest thus far. Kinsey now on the bubble. The question is, will Matty was here come out soon enough to attempt to get a lap in? Because if he does not come out on track soon enough, Kinsey is going to automatically advance. Flavor is on an outlap. He doesn't need to be on an outlap, but Flavor must feel that there's a risk that he could get squeezed out. But yeah, Matty, still in the pits, has not yet come out onto the circuit. So Flavor is locked in. Flavor can retire in the pits. He does not have to worry at this point. He's the only driver in the one. We have had no one in the 114s, interesting enough. Everyone's in the between the 111s and 113s. And then Flavor and Retro, 14th and 15th, set times in the 115s. So the drivers that will not advance out of the first round of qualifying, Ozda and Hurricane had qualifying bans. Matty was here, just never came out of the pit lane to attempt a lap. Waldo tried twice, had good laps going, but retired both times. Zola has had an incident there in Sector 1. But yeah, and Kinsey will advance. Flavor will make it to the line, so he'll get a chance to go a little bit faster here if he so chooses. Can he break into the 114s? As the time is up in the session, Air Max also in the middle of a lap. Zola on a cooldown. I think he touched the wall there. He's up by 6/10 though. If he can keep that together, that would put him into the 114s. Out of the final corner comes the Ferrari, and at the line, he will set a time 1:14.3. So yeah, he improves by about 6/10. Good job on Flavor's part. Matty was here for whatever reason, never attempted to come out onto the racetrack. So all 15 drivers that set laps in the session will advance, and most significantly, no crash DNFs in the first round of qualifying. So everyone here absolutely has control around this circuit here at Monaco. If you look at the top four all within a second, a little less than a second of each other, but then the gaps start spreading out a bit. Yeah, this will be an interesting race to say the least. One of the biggest grids we've seen in XRL for a little bit, and it's at Monaco of all places, so traffic will be a big factor in today's race. Alright. Alright, and here we are. 15 drivers fighting for 10 positions. This is going to be where intensities and stakes starts getting a little bit higher. Veloce, the second driver out on track. The first one is this man here, XRL Breezy, in the Aston Martin. Ooh! A lot of speed through the last bit of the Novell chicane, and a twitch in the Aston Martin. He hits the outside wall. Is there damage to the car? Breezy does not think so, and he's going to still send it on this lap. He's burnt through most of his ERS as it is. And while there are a lot of braking zones on this circuit, a lot of them are really slow speed, so you're not going to recharge the ERS as much through them as you would at other tracks. Knows that car seems really happy through a lot of these corners. So he's going to probably burn out of ERS at this part right here. But he is looking like he's still going to be the first driver to get a lap in here. 53.6 at the end of Sector 2. A lot quicker and straighter, well, quicker entry and straighter exiting swimming pool, but he shrugged off a lot of time. And at the line, Breezy will set a 112.540 and will take the Aston Martin to the top. Now here comes the Alfa Romeo. Veloce goes to the 111s with a 111.386. Here comes his teammate, AK Herbie, will set a time 112.942. Now the McLaren of XRL Low will come across the line. He will set a 112.852. Now we see the Red Bull of Shikari. He will cross instead of 113.307. Oh, and Lowe's crashed out! And that is right, coming out of Casino. And Lowe, with a 112.852, one of the top 3 times thus far, has crashed out. Air Max, trying to get a lap in here. But now with Lowe's accident, that puts a lot of pressure on the midfield because there is a risk that some of them might not be able to advance. What in the world happened to Breezy? Breezy's car may have been forcefully reset on track when he didn't want it to be. Kenzie's still saying times in the 15s right now. He's going to want to improve significantly if he wants to make it into the next round. But yeah, with Lowe's accident right now, only the top 3 are actually safe. Even Herbie, who set a respectable time, 112.9, is not necessarily guaranteed in. Because with Lowe's accident, this means that now is more, the pressure is closer to having only 15 drivers fighting for 9 positions rather than 10. The time to beat now becomes a 112 instead of whatever it is that Kinzie is going for. 19 goes ahead and retires in pit lane. He says that he's confident with that 112 time. Air Max is a 13.546 now. Invalidates his next lap right afterwards, but it doesn't matter. He set the time he wanted to. Shikari is invalidated this lap, sadly. He's up by 0.6, but he's invalidated it. And that 0.6 improvement would have put him over Low on the sheets. This is Pelly now as he comes down to swimming pool. As he comes to the line, Pelly will set a lap time of 1:12.433. That's the third best thus far today. So right now, the top 5 look like they're in a good position. Torpedo and Zola both on outlaps right now. Air Max is on a cooldown lap. He's already invalidated this one, so we know he's not going to go faster. Torpedo's Red Bull teammate, Zola, Shikari, is 7th on the sheets right now. At the moment, Neon is on the outside looking in with the 117.925. We know that he can improve significantly from that, though. 19.331 at the end of Sector 1 for Torpedo. Zola now officially in the middle of his lap as well in the Haas machine. Relatively quiet, clean track at the moment. Flavor and Yun have yet to come out onto the circuit to try and attempt the time. Alright, oh, and coming to the party right now is XRL Low. Low, big accident in Sector 1, coming out of Casino. What happened that took you out there?
Oh, I just a little bit too close to the corner and just hit the tire, and that was it. I don't know.
Alright, it looks like you're going to be starting around like the 10th to 12th positions. But here at Monaco, survival is the name of the game. Do you think you can survive to the end of the race?
I hope so. This track is pretty difficult, to be honest. Especially when you got so many good racers who want to keep pushing. So, I don't know, we're just going to have to keep our head down and try to stay out of trouble. See what happens.
All right. Well, I'll say this, Lo, you can take this with a little bit of encouragement. You are in the car that won the X3 race earlier today, so it may not be all bad for you.
Hey, there we go. Well, no, I had a good time. I ran a 12.8, which was pretty good. I would have been in the top 6 right now. So, I think the car feels good to progressively move up the field. It just depends on what happens to the people in front, right? So I just got to make sure I stay out of their way and keep the nose clean.
I will go ahead and ask one. I will go ahead and ask one question. Are you gonna do any heroics in the San Devot?
No, I'm gonna try to keep it clean. I just don't want to ruin anyone's race, and I don't want anything to happen in the front that ruins mine. So it's hard to come back from this, especially when there's no safety car. If there's a huge accident and there's no safety car, it's a hard race to come back from. But you know, that's why in the beginning you just got to keep your nose clean and make sure nothing happens, basically, and survive to the end.
All right. Well, thanks for being willing to jump in and talk with us. Hopefully the race works out well for you, mate.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, and that is the word from Extra Low. His teammate Yun in the middle of a lap right now. At the moment, Low still is 10th on the time sheets, but his high time of a 1:12.852 is putting a lot of undue pressure because now it is 15 drivers fighting for 9 spots as Yun taps the outside wall. He's still on it for a lap, though. He's still committing. Yun, one of the most exciting drivers to watch in both qualifying and race scenarios here, sets a 113.742. Right now, Yun is on the outside looking in. He is not even close to his teammate's time, about 9/10 off. About 89 hundredths off, to be a little bit more accurate. Flavor and Zola both on outlaps right now. Neon has jumped up to third, so that pushes Shikari out of the top 10 now. Shikari has already responded. He has come back out onto the circuit, trying to go a little faster. Flavor's invalidated, but this is an outlap for him. That's not too much of an issue. Zola trying again to get a lap in after invalidating on his earlier attempt. Clean track ahead for the Haas. Zola did not have a good run here in the X3 race. He's going to want to turn his fortunes around here in X2, the category that he is used to running in, but he has been kicked down to X3. He is only reserving for today's X2 race. Coming out of the final corner, and Zola now beginning his lap. Herbie in 9th with a 112.942 is at risk of being knocked out if anyone 11th to 15th puts together a fast enough time. Yun is back into the pits. I don't know if that McLaren, if Yun's going to have another chance to get another good lap in. We may see no McLarens make it out of the second round of qualifying. Jabus retires in the pits as Flavor crosses the line to begin his next flyer. '19 also is retiring in the pits. Torpedo retires in the pits. .010 for Zola at the end of Sector 2. Throws it through both of the swimming pool corners. Now through the final two. I love that camera angle. And at the line, Zola will go ahead and set a 113.356. That's only good enough for 12th right now. So Zola not in a position to move into the next round. Yun coming back out of the pits. There's not a whole lot of time left. He's only going to have enough time for one shot. Kinsey's only going to have enough time for one shot as well. Flavor, 54.41 that at the end of Sector 2. So this lap has not gone all that well for Flavor. Ooh, Shikari jumps up to second, 111.716. So Herbie is now knocked out. Flavor goes up to 13th. But right now, Herbie is the only one within spitting distance of Lowe's time. But will Herbie even be able to get out into the track in enough time to react? Zola and Flavor both trying to improve. Yun and Kinsey trying to improve as well. Zola is down on time. He's not going to improve unless he stays out for another lap. He is recharging his ERS for one more shot at it. The car will be lighter, but the tires will be more heavily worn. He's getting one more lap of it. Yun and Kinsey have both begun their laps. Yun's actually about to finish up this lap. I don't know if he's going to have enough fuel to go for it again. He starts laying on the ERS, so that may have been just a setup lap. Recharge the ERS for another flyer here. Red Bull incident, is that Shikari? Yeah, Shikari had an incident trying to get into the pits. Kinsey is up by half a second at the end of Sector 1 alone. So Kinsey is moving up in the right way, but he needs to make a miraculous run at this. Zola is down by 0.2 at the end of Sector 1. Yun is up by over a quarter of a second. That's not going to be enough time. Herbie is not out on track. So right now, Zola and Flavor both need to improve by about 0.6 if they want a chance to move in to the next round. Time's up. Over. Plow. Zola flying right now. He might be able to squeeze it. Zola not known for qualifying prowess, but he's trying to overcome that stereotype. At the line, will it be enough? Sadly, no. He is down by 0.3. That's not going to be enough. Kinsey is out. Here comes Yun. Is he going to be able to improve enough? At the line. No, he jumps up to 12th, though, with a 13.122. What about Flavor? He is up by 0.2. That time alone is not going to be enough. Nah, he was down on time. So no one is able to make it through, and Lowe will not advance either, so only the top 9 advance to the next round. And that will bring us to an end in this session. Still waiting on the official move over to the next round of qualifying here. It should be done any time here. Nine drivers going for the top 9 positions here. And the first one to get out onto the circuit once again is going to be the Alfa Romeo of XRL Breezy. Loche already on an outlap, as is Neon, as is Jabus Dawn. We're now seeing the AlphaTauri of Pelly coming down the line. In fact, nearly the entire field, 8 of our 10 cars will all be on track. Well, 7 out of 9 cars will be out on track, trying to get their laps in. Only 9 cars. Again, Monaco is a very tight, tight circuit with a quick lap time, so traffic is extremely problematic here, but with only 9 cars, it will be less problematic now than it was earlier. Breeze has already burned through most of his ERS, and that may be the biggest problem. Oh, wow, big slide coming downhill for the Aston Martin. But as I was saying, a big problem that he may have in that machine is that he has burned through most of his ERS on the out lap, trying to get out there so quickly that may be compromising his actual proper flyers, as he is running so close to the very empty edge of that battery. Big twitch from the rear going into the swimming pool section. But he's still keeping it together. That rear seems to be really slidey on him as he comes in the last 2 corners. Big slide. That's how I like to drive my cars. But as he comes down to the line is XRL Breezy. And it will be a 1:12.254. That's the time that everyone's going to be going for. But Veloce, who has been at or near the top all of the 2 prior sessions, will once again go to the top in the 10s. 1:10.893. That's the first time we've seen someone in the 1:10s all day today. Incredible. Neon sets a 13.006. Next up will be this man here, James John, who has sneakily and silently made his way up into the final round qualifying with the Alpine. As he comes to the line, this is not going to be a great time, but it will be a time nonetheless. He will come across with a 1:15.380, so he needs to significantly improve. We know that he can do it, though. Pelly in the middle of the lap through a swimming pool. So close to hitting that outside wall. Pelly at the line. It will be a 1:11.474. It's the second best time thus far today. Here comes the Red Bull of Torpedo. There is a Williams behind him. That's Air Max who has to repair wing damage. Torpedo comes across the line. It's not a great time. 1:16.213. The slowest of everyone thus far. As you see Neon already coming back in after completing his lap. James John is actually up on time, up by over a full second. So he's going even faster on his second run here. He's down by 2.3 seconds compared to Neon ahead of him on the sheets. But he's going to eat away a bunch of that time now. Across the line, John, 1:11.732, jumps up by over 3.5 seconds up to third, 1:11.732. That's a great time for him. Track calms down just a bit now, though. Everyone on in laps by the looks of it. Torpedo, I think he's still trying to recharge his ERS. He's turned he's turned 2 laps now with just no real push to him. Just circling the circuit. He will be a lot lighter, but his tires are going to have a respectable amount of wear on them as well. And he's aborting into the pits. And this is James John, also on his cooldown. Air Max now coming back out onto the circuit, so it's going to be a clean track for the Williams of Air Max. Is kind of staying off of it. He's not pushing too terribly hard right now, but he's going to have to hope that when he gets to the line, no one else is on an outlap in sector 1 or 2 ahead of him. Tires should be relatively warmed up at this point. We're going to go silent and right on board with the Williams for the lap here. Air Max sets a time, 1:12.201. One other car out on track right now, and that's XRL Sha'Carri in an out lap. Less than 4 minutes left in this final round of qualifying. XRL 19 and Sha'Carri both have yet to set their times. Torpedo has set a time, but it's more than 3 seconds off the next slowest person, so we know that he should be able to improve significantly. Now we're seeing drivers starting to come back out onto the track. This could become problematic for Sha'Carri because they're going to be right ahead of him when he is on his flyer. Yeah, he's going to run right into the back of the Mercedes of, I believe, that is going to be XRL 19. Yeah, this is going to be very problematic for Sha'Carri. He's going to catch him right here coming out of Casino. Touches the inside wall. Nice and flat with that with the left front wheel. And 19 just goes right off circuit to make sure he doesn't hamper Sha'Carri's time. Sha'Carri had a purple sector 1, but again, way this game works, your first lap, every sector is going to be purple. Torpedo's on an outlap as well. 19 on his outlap. Jabez John is on his outlap. Anticipating to see Air Max coming in shortly. Or not. Air Max actually stays out. He's going to go for another shot at it. Sha'Carri really scrubbed off a bunch of speed coming out of swimming pool there. But I think this should be a respectable lap. Coming to the line, I'm thinking in the 112s. 111, 111.875, that's good enough for 4th at the moment. Torpedo in the middle of a lap, trying to improve on his own time as well. The Mercedes of XRL 19 behind him. Or he was. And no, Torpedo is not able to improve a 123. Now 19 beginning his flyer. We see Veloce coming out onto the track. He's going to have one shot to improve on his time, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know if anyone's even going to be able to beat him. Let alone beat this current time, let alone catch him if he sets faster time. Veloce did walk off dominating fashion in the dev race yesterday. Pelly crosses the line, but is not able to improve his time. Gabaston coming across the line. He is also not able to improve. Everyone with the exception of Breezy and Veloce in the middle of improving their times right now. Crash! Red Bull! That is Sha'Carri. Well, no crash. It looks like he may have just pulled aside to let his teammate Torpedo pass. Yeah, I guess he didn't crash. He just pulled off circuit to let Torpedo pass. Torpedo jumps up to 5th now to 112.122. Here comes 19. He'll be the last driver to set time in the session. 112.640. Half a minute left. So everyone in the middle of the lap is going to have just this attempt, and some of them might have one more. Veloce coming to the line. 110.893 has been his best thus far. Trying to see if he can improve. Here comes Pelly. Oh, and he spins out of the second to last corner. And here comes an Aston Martin. And this has gone well because time's up, over, plow. And not only is Pelly blocking the racing line, he is blocking the entrance into pit lane. He's trying to get moving, but the track is so tight here, it's hard to do so. Breezy, 112.254. He's not going to be able to go any faster. Here comes Sha'Carri and Torpedo. Torpedo to the line. No improvement. Sha'Carri jumps up to 4th with 11.597. Here comes 19. He's invalidated. Veloce, who is at the top trying to go even faster. It looks like pole position is wrapped up for Veloce at the line. He goes even faster, 110.675. Incredible job. dog. Only one man is out there still trying to get a lap in. Can Neon get? No, he cannot. He invalidates. He spins and hits the inside wall in front of the crowd. And that will bring us to an end of qualifying here, as Neon has a bit of an instant in the middle of his final flying lap. Veloce with dominant performance in Q1, Q2, and Q3. Incredible job. And that will conclude the session here at Monaco. And we'll now wait about 5.5 minutes until we get to the start of the race itself. So there's your time, spread from the top to the bottom, about 2 seconds at the moment in the top 9. There will be a McLaren starting 10th, that will be extra low, but 10th will be as high as he will be able to start this race. Come on, let's see the tire compounds. There we are. Alright, so while we wait to get underway for the race itself, real quickly we'll bring you up to speed with the points scenario in the X2 Championship as it is right now. So at the moment, as we look at the championship standings, manufacturer-wise, McLaren is 10th with 21 points, Ferrari is 9th with 24, Williams is 8th with 32. Then there's a big jump. 7th is Aston Martin with 55. There's a tie for 5th between Haas and Red Bull. They have 57 points even. 4th is Alpine with 60 points. 3rd is Mercedes with 61. 2nd is Alfa Romeo with 72 points. And leading in the Manufacturers' Championship is AlphaTauri with 79 points. In the Drivers' Championship, things look a little bit different. 20th is Extra Low with 1 point. 19th is Edgar with 2. 18th is Veloce with 3 points. 17th is Matty was here with 6 points. 16th is Gusty with 8. 15th is Ozza with 9. 14th is Rimisco with 10 points. The small jump, 13th is Vitek Jalebin. He has 14 points thus far in the season. 12th is Airmax A841. He has 15 points. 11th is Exits the Spot with 18 points. There's a tie for 9th between XRL Breezy and XRL Young. They are 20 points even. 8th is Franz W31 with 21 points. 7th is XRL Shikari with 27. 6th is XRL Torpedo with 30 points. 5th is Mr. Neum with 34 points. 4th is Jabus Young with 38. 3rd is Scalia Sugar with 39 points. And then your championship contenders. 2nd is K18 CFC with 51 points. And leading in the Drivers' Championship is Extra Pelli with a dominant 73 points right now. And with him starting second today, there is every chance that he will be able to extend his lead over K18, because neither K18 or Scalar Sugar are anticipated to be running in today's race. In fact, this will be a great day for Pelli, because even if he doesn't take home any points, his next closest rival in the championship is Jabez John. And while John is 5th, John is also 35 points out. So even if John won and took fastest lap, he's not going to be ahead of Pelli. So yeah, Pelli is in a great position in the Drivers' Championship right now. So right now, the game says that everyone in the top 11 is going to be starting on mediums. If you go farther back, there's a little bit more randomness. 18th and 19th, Ozzy and Ryan are starting on medium tires. Maddie in 17th says that he's going to be starting on hards. Waldo will be starting on mediums. Flavor and Kinsey in 14th and 15th starting on hards. Zola in 13th starting on softs. It's going to be very interesting because he's going to be faster, way faster than Young right ahead of him. But it's so difficult to overtake here. Zola's going to have to hope for some heroics to make something happen. But at a track where normally the ideal strategy is to run long on hard tire compounds and then try a massive, massive overcut, or conversely do a massive undercut assuming the person ahead overestimates their tire wear, Zola taking a very wild card gambling strategy, and frankly, I like it. I'm always of the fan that if everyone is super familiar with the ideal strategies, get off sequence, do something crazy. There's also a possibility that with 19 drivers, we could be seeing yellow flags. We don't know. In X3, we had 4 accidents, but no yellow flags, not even a VSC. We don't know if the game is glitching and it's preventing yellow flags from coming, or if it was just the game said there was no yellow flags. If we have no yellow flags in today's race, then it's definitely a glitch. But if we have yellow flags, that can also randomize things. I don't know. That can go either way, because if we have a lot of accidents that randomize the grid, but no yellow flags to bunch everything up, that's going to make things really awkward and weird for a lot of the drivers. But for Veloce, he is starting on pole. He is going to have peak control of this race today. As we're preparing to get underway, we'll have one warm-up lap here for everyone to try and get some heat back into their rubber. And yeah, there in the end. Oh, Pelly is going to be starting on the hards, as will Lowe and Yun. And Zola is going to be starting on the hards. Waldo's starting on softs. Hurricane is starting on softs. So this could get very interesting very quickly. Lowe going for a big, crazy strategy to try and get well up the grid. And Pelly is going to try and get ahead of Veloce by being on a radically different strategy. Now, we saw Schumacher try this against Herbago in the X3 race, but it didn't work because Herbago, even when they're on the same tires, was more than a second a lap faster. If that same kind of scenario happens where Veloce is more than a second a lap faster than Pelly, though, that might not be enough because we only had 14 drivers in the X3 race, and frankly, through a majority of that race, we only had 12 drivers. Here we have 19 guys. Veloce is going to have to deal a lot more with lap traffic potentially holding him up. All right, field beginning to line up. Torpedo and Breezy did not choose to do their warm-up lap. Their cars will be ghosted, so it won't actually be an issue. Ryan's still a ways off, but the field is much tightly packed than what we've seen throughout most of the season when we've had these warm-up laps. So your top drivers like Veloce and Pelly should still be able to get them maintain some heat in their rubber. Ooh, Pelly, bad lineup there. We're going to ride on board with Mr. Neon at the start. All those DSQs will go away. All 19 drivers will be allowed to start. Four lights, 5 lights. It's lights out, away we go here in the Principality of Monaco. The question is, will anyone try heroics in the stand forward? Yes, Mr. Neon shoots to the inside of the AlphaTauri. Side by side to turn 1. They're drag racing uphill. Ozza's had a collision with Maddie was here. Maddie has gotten going. Ozza's struggling. There's a lot of damage throughout the back of the field already at the start. Yellow flag flags near the back of the grid, but we stay green for the moment. Neon shot by Pelly as Pelly on the hard tires just could not get off the line well enough. An excellent job by Neon off the line, and Pelly has slipped from second to third, now holding up the entire car field behind them pretty much. Oh, Red Bull has been caught involved in some incidents. That's Flavor who's gotten hit from behind. Matty was here, has been involved. A bunch of contact and drama near the back of the grid. And this could prove very frustrating for Veloce because he's going to be catching lap traffic very quickly here. Hurricane and Waldo on soft tires, stuck now in the back of the grid. As he ran board with Kinsey as he navigates his way through the Novell chicane. The top five drivers though, already pulling up gaps on each other. Zola has lost a position to Yun now. And here comes Zola into the pits. Lowe is coming into the pits as well. In fact, we see now Ozda pitting as well, so the Haas is forced to double stack as they need to repair damage to their machines. So Ozda likely going to get trapped a lap down due to this forced double stacking. At the front, it is Veloce over Neon. As we stay green, Pelly has completely lost touch already with the lead pack. So the hard to medium strategy may not be a good idea because the hards just do not get off the line very well, and you're just open to easy overtakes right off the bat. Speaking of which, 19 is closed up behind AK Herbie for the 8th position as they come down through the tunnel. Does he make a move into the Novell chicane? Yes, he does. He dives to the inside. He knocks the Alfa Romeo right off circuit and continues going. 19 gets a penalty for corner cutting, but that's not going to be enough for Herbie. Herbie is not going to be happy with that whatsoever. He has now been kicked down to the 11th position from that spin. Has there been damage on 19's car? He did pretty much spear into the side of the Alfa Romeo. No, he stays out on track. Oh, big twitch by Breezy behind. Jabez John going on the outside, then aborting on Air Max, but he's got a crossover. Air Max didn't have a good run, and Air Max is into the wall, and he's backwards, coming uphill. Out of turn one, he smashes against the inside wall, destroys the front wing, but he is facing the right way. And now for Air Max, he's going to have to limp this damaged Williams around the entire circuit. Likely will be holding up a bunch of drivers in the process, and he's not the only one. 19 has had an accident. 19 has had an accident coming out of Casino. And he is struggling, getting going. He comes down right in front of his Mercedes teammates, and there's a track blockage. The track is blocked. And Ryan Hurricane can't get through. Kinsey Retro can't get through. They finally get through. Manny was here, gets going again. Air Max gets going. Yellow flag only in that sector. And yes, the track is blocked. They've gotten the track blockage clear, but no yellow flag. So yeah, yellow flags have been turned off by the game. Because of course this game is broken. We can't have nice things. But frustration and agony here for the Mercedes camp, as crash between the Mercedes cars will take one out of the race and will put the other one in a horrible position going forward. Manny was here, actually gets by Ryan Hurricane. But we'll see Ryan get back by, as Ryan still does have a front wing, somehow. Kinsey is there as well. Air Max goes ahead and pits. Matty pits as well to repair the damage to his car. AK Herbie closing in on XRL Yun. Farther up the grid, here's another fight as John is behind Torpedo. Alpine versus Red Bull. Zola jumps over Matty as Zola is still out on track at the moment. So the field absolutely been randomized in a lot of ways, but no, everyone's still on the lead lap, but only for the moment, barely. And we are anticipating to see Veloce putting either the Haas of Ozda or the Ferrari of Waldo down a lap very shortly here. Within 6 laps. Actually, on the 5th lap of the race. Yeah, as we see there, he's going to overtake the Ferrari. As that Ferrari of Veloce that Ferrari of Waldo has yet to come out onto the track. So Veloce puts the Ferrari a lap down. Neon gets by him as well. John gets by Torpedo. sending it with a DRS overtake, but Torpedo does the crossover side by side as they come uphill. One of them's gonna have to back out in Casino. Casino's a one-car corner, and it will be the Red Bull Torpedo that backs out. So John holds on to 5th now, and there's been an instant farther up. Is that Waldo who has gone into the wall? Yes, it is. The Ferrari of Waldo has gone into the wall in the downhill section. So a bad day goes worse. Ozda at risk of going a lap down shortly. Here's another fight as Herbie has closed in behind Jan. Herbie trying to recover after getting knocked off circuit. He's got to run through the tunnel now, but he is not close enough to make a move unless one goes for a high-risk, low-reward dive bomb. He will not. He thinks better of it for the moment. This is the only serious battle on track right now, as Ozda moves aside and lets Veloce pass. And that's another Mercedes that's just had an incident at the top of the hill. That's Matty was here. Same place that 19 had his accident at. He will get moving a little bit sooner, though, and it does not look like he's struggling the same way that 19 did. And Waldo has just crashed out now. Waldo has just crashed in the pit lane, and Waldo is out of it. Matty trapped a lap down now, as is Ozda. Matty with significant front wing damage. But the game's stupid and says no yellow flags for this. And that is a Haas. That is Ozda who has had to stop completely in the Novell chicane. Torpedo gets a penalty for track violations. Ozda behind Matty. Pulls up right behind him as well. Matty's going to have to pit, though, to repair damage to that car, potentially. So Ozda will take that spot. Herbie still putting some pressure on the McLaren of XRL Yun ahead of him. Gets right behind the McLaren, actually makes a small amount of contact with them. McLaren having a lot of struggles here by the looks of it. And here comes Herbie. He goes around the outside. Oh. Why can we never have nice things? So we're getting word that they're going to restart the entire race due to an issue with the damage model being wrong. So I anticipate we'll start seeing drivers back out sometime shortly here. I anticipate we should be seeing drivers backing out shortly here, unless the information I got is wrong. There we are. Yun has just crashed out. So yeah, we're probably going to start seeing people back out sometime soon here to start setting up for a lobby restart. Waiting on that to happen. So all of this that we're seeing right now means nothing. And we're just waiting on when it happens. Oh, there we are. Got the invite now. Standing by right now, waiting to get underway. Shikari, I'm already here. I am already here in the lobby, Shikari. This is going to be a full lobby restart. This is definitely going to piss off a lot of drivers, sadly to say. Right now, we're just waiting for everyone to get back in here. We'll skip qualifying. This also means that everyone will have nothing but fresh rubber for the race itself. You stand by waiting for a long time until the entire grid is back here. Reselected the cars and good to get going again. Still waiting on 2 drivers to get into the lobby here and then prepare the lobby restart. So it looks like we're only going to go green with 17 cars instead of 19. It's a slightly smaller field. Still going to try and go the full race distance though. So it looks like Yun had a power outage where he was, so he will not be able to continue due to that power outage. Preparing to get underway. It will be a 5-minute wait until the race itself gets going. Just waiting to get underway for the lobby restart at this point in the event. Here we are, finally, the countdown's underway. And it should be another lap of warming up the tires. Ryan Hurricane also has elected to not restart. Waldo's starting on softs this time. Pelly's still on hards. The rest of the field's still on mediums. Herbie and Yun actually going to be starting on mediums as well. And with the slightly smaller field, I think this might make things a little bit easier for Veloce. Also for the Mercedes team, this is great news because this means that they can avoid the team collective accident that they had earlier. They can act like it didn't happen now. Ozza taking a little bit more time to catch up to the back of the grid than it should. He should. The field now lines up, and the Alpine of Jean hits the inside wall. That is awkward. Well, like last time, we're going to ride on board with Mr. Neon at the start. As the field is lined up, the question is, who's going to perform some heroics into San Devote? Will it be Neon on Pelly again? Will Veloce have the same start as before? Lights are out, and away we go here at Monaco. Right off the line, the AlphaTauri is a little bit stronger. Neon looks at the inside. Pelly comes down in front of him. A little bit of contact potentially. No, Neon backs out of it. Pelly is going to hold on to second place this time. The rear of the grid seemed to get going a little bit smoother that time. Air Max and Young both lost positions. Ozda gets by Kinsey on the start, but it looks like it was a cleaner start overall. Waldo extremely slow coming off the line though. Air Max loses a position to X-Rail Yun at this point. Neon has just gone by Pelly. What in the devil has happened there? Well, they were ghost mode for a bit. They get going again, but Veloce is now more than 2.5 seconds ahead of Pelly. Something went wrong with second and third place, and the entire field is now backed up once again on each other, and Veloce is allowed to run off clean, but it looks like overall it was a cleaner start from top to bottom. And most significantly for Pelly, with him having a better start as well, this means that he will have a chance to maybe try and do a overcut on Veloce when it comes to tire wear. Breezy has to pit, as does Air Max, to repair damage to their machines. The rest of the field stays out, and now we see a bit of some gaps open up. Low, nearly 3 seconds out from Yun, so, oh, and he hits the wall coming out of Sandoval! And here comes Zola with a head of steam, and Zola runs in the back of the McLaren, and they're going to be extremely slow, blocking the track. Now we see Maddie's gonna go by, Flavor's gonna go by, Waldo's gonna go by, but Low and Zola have both had an accident coming out of turn 1, Sandoval, and now their cars are both crippled and having to very slowly navigate around the rest of the circuit. Low with no front wing, Zola with only half of one. Oh, and Maddie has spun coming out of the hairpin. There's damage on his car as well, so a cleaner first lap is traded for a much, much worse subsequent series of laps. And once again, one of the Mercedes with an incident. This spreads out the field quite a bit. Waldo now all of a sudden is up into the 11th position behind his teammate Flavor. Flavor is on hards, Waldo is on softs, and if they know what's best for each other, Flavor would move aside to let Waldo get the position and run off to try and tackle Ozda in the Haas ahead. Oh! Power down, and Waldo slaps the outside wall. Still good, I don't see any damage to that car, but he is, he's not taking those tires as well as we were hoping he would. Immediately, though, starts closing back in on Flavor. Farther up the grid, Jabez John is behind Torpedo, and Neon is behind... Oh, John just got by Torpedo somehow. What? Okay. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Well, Jabez John is using the force to teleport ahead of his rivals. Instant, McLaren, low, accident, coming out of one. He's back underway now. I don't see wing damage, so he should be able to continue for a bit. Zola will be ahead of him now. But at this point, everyone who is on track is still on the lead lap for now. Veloce has opened up a 3.5 second gap on Pelly. And he's going to want to try and keep that gap at that or more until his tires start falling off. Waldo finally gets by Flavor on the DRS straight, and he'll be able to utilize his soft tires to try and run away from Flavor and try to run down Ozda ahead. Already, Waldo's closed the gap to about 2.5 seconds between himself and Ozda. And those softs, we were told earlier, those softs are anticipated to only last about 9 laps. And those are the tires that Waldo started on. Matty was here, has a time penalty now for track violations. Loki is just at the fastest lap, and those times will only get faster as the event goes on. Jabez John has just overtaken Shikari, as Shikari has to repair wing damage. And they are putting a new wing and putting on hard tire compounds, and he is back underway. Ozda is going to get by Herbie, as Herbie also has to repair damage to his car. So this also moves Waldo up into 8th now, only 1.3 seconds behind Ozda at this point in the event. Okay. Zola blows the corner. And that will let Lowe and Maddie both sneak by him now. So is something wrong with Zola that we've not noticed thus far? He is on medium tires. He seems to be off the pace compared to the two drivers he was fighting with. Maddie, oh, and Maddie has run into the back of the McLaren, and now he has to pit to repair wing damage. Imagine the, for a moment, will you, the meme of Vince McMahon from the WWE smelling money and running his hand through a bowl full of money, and that is front wing designers when they invented Monaco. Torpedo now paying out 5th position to repair damage on his car. So Waldo has caught Ozda for the 7th position. Now 6th position. Now Ferrari is absolutely flying, but for how much longer? Because as long as he's caught, oh, big slide, Saint Devote for the Ferrari. So now we're at the point that we were in the prior lobby when they backed out. Hopefully we don't have to see him back out this time. Torpedo's in the pit. Shikari back into pit lane, so it's just not been a good day for the Red Bulls at all. They're both well out of the points paying positions. Kinsey Retro didn't have a very good start, but he's just kept his nose clean. He's now up into the 9th. Oh, and Breezy has had an accident. Breezy has had an accident coming out of Saint Devote and is blocking the track. He's going to spin around to try and get going the right way. Finally, he gets moving again. But there's no front wing on that car. He's going to have to pit, and this will drop him well down the order. Already, Lowe, Zola, and, Maddie has gone a lap down by this point. Zola is at risk of going a lap down to Veloce shortly here, as Veloce is stretching open the gap. Neon has just pitted out of the top 3 positions. Is it wing damage, or is this strategy? No, it's wing damage, and Maddie has crashed out. Maddie has retired in the pits. He's not crashed out. He has retired in the pits. Flavor now in 7th. Waldo has gotten by Ozda, and Waldo is now up into the 5th position on these soft tires, but there's only going to be about 2-3 laps left in them. He is going to try and stretch out the gap on Ozda and hope that when he pits and comes back onto the circuit, he comes out onto a clean part of the racetrack. Air Max in the pits right now, as they're going to have to take off those slightly worn hard tires and put on slightly worn mediums instead. Breezy in the pits, finally repairing the damage to his car. Oh, and Waldo's crashed! Waldo has just crashed out! And that's in the tunnel! In the middle of the tunnel at that! And that car is destroyed! The yellow flag only in that sector, and Find Waldo, the only man on track making overtakes, is now out of it. Zola in the pits to repair damage to his car. And this is really, it's really not going to change anything. Flavor now moves up into 6th. Ozda goes back into the 5th position. But this has become a race of attrition, as we expected the X3 race to do. Now the X2 race has become a race of attrition. Yeah, and the game has yellow flags automatically turned off, so that it's not going to bunch up the field or anything. And this is good news for Veloce. This means that as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, he should be able to walk off with this. Breezy has just had a crash in the same place that Waldo did. Finally facing the right way. That was Jan who just went by him. Now Breezy's going to have to repair the damage to his car again. Torpedo has caught Kinsey Retro for the 9th spot. This is the fight for the last 2 points-paying positions. Torpedo kind of losing touch with Kinsey through the tunnel. Closes in under heavy braking. Gets back within less than a second, but then the Williams seems to be better set up for accelerating out. The Red Bull is better set up for braking. That gap just kind of springboards and rubber bands out and back and out and back. Breezy back into the pits to repair damage to his machine. Neon, time penalty, and Neon's right in the 7th position. Trying to stay ahead of Herbie. Herbie is on soft tires. That will be falling off sometime soon, but when Herbie pits and gets off the softs, he can throw on hards and make his hards last to the end of the race. Crash! McLaren, low! Coming out of swimming pool. Thankfully, he's right there at pit end. Will be able to repair the damage. The bad news, though, this will put him a lap down. So Veloce now has put everyone outside of the top 11 a lap down. Sha'Carri will be next on his list, but there is a big gap between Veloce and Sha'Carri on track right now. Pelly is still second on the hard tires, but he is not keeping up with Veloce. Veloce is gaining about 4/5 of a second on Pelly every lap. So pace is everything in a scenario where yellow flags do not work because the game is broken. Torpedo has a time penalty in 10th, and that's going to make it harder for him to get by Kinsey in 9th. Right out the back of Kinsey. See, he has a better exit out of the final corner. DRS kicks in for Torpedo. He's able to use that to close in on the Williams under braking. But again, Saint-Devote, the Williams starts opening the gap again. I know it's said Saint-Devote, but I always hear it called Saint-Devote, so that's why I end up saying it's Saint-Devote. Ooh, Kinsey taps the inside wall coming out of Casino. Or inside wall, I guess. Sha'Carri in the pits again to repair damage, and this will put Sha'Carri a lap down now. This fight between Kinsey and Torpedo will now also be a fight to stay on the lead lap of the race. 15 cars left on the circuit. This is the most active battle on track right now. Right on board with Breezy, who runs right behind these two. Breezy is a lap down compared to them. And you can see Torpedo's pretty much knocking down the walls, trying to figure out a way by, and is compromising his times because these two are both way slower than he is. And the Red Bull pits. Torpedo has to pit. Oh, big twitch by Breezy coming out of the final corner there. Sha'Carri trapped behind the AlphaTauri of Pelly, who is on the lead lap, but on hard tires. Clean track all around for Veloce. It looks like it will be a walk-off win for him today, like it was in Jeb yesterday. Torpedo coming out of the pits, and he will end up behind his teammate Sha'Carri on track now. At the rate this race is going, Veloce will have not quite a free pit stop over Pelly, but then whenever Pelly does eventually make his swap off of the hard tires, regardless of what he pits on, he's going to be so far behind Veloce, he's not actually going to be able to do anything to him. So the top two positions seem relatively steady as long as Veloce does not get involved in an accident either of his own making or of someone else's making. There is this fight here. Mr. Neon is behind Flavor, who is behind Ozda. The medium tires are falling off a bit, and Flavor has caught Ozda but can't figure out a way by him, and Neon is on fresher hards than Flavor's. But no one seems to be able to make any movements in this fight right now. Through the Novell chicane. That there is probably one of the hardest braking zones on the track. Through the swimming pool section. Clean Air giving Ozda a bit of a favor. Lets him stretch the gap open just a bit. But now Flavor will have DRS on the main straight to close back in, but he's not going to be close enough to make a run on the Haas ahead. These three all kind of stacked on top of each other, and no one's able to do anything with it. Neon is faster than Flavor, but can't get alongside him. Flavor is slightly faster than Ozda, but can't get alongside him either. Kinsey has just pitted out of 9th position. Oh, and Neon makes a dive bomb on Flavor. Flavor backs out of it. Neon hits the side of Ozda, though, and now both of them are in the wall. And they're both in the wall. They're both stuck in the wall. And Neon is now damaged front wing. He has lost the position to Ozda. He got over with Flavor, and Flavor is now by both of them. That was perfect for Flavor. Neon is going to be fuming. He looks to the outside of the Haas. He really wants to get by the Haas now, but can't figure out a way by. Oh, they tapped the inside wall in the apex there. He might have, and Neon has wing damage as well. This also will work out well for Herbie, because Herbie on the soft tires will be flying and get a chance to maybe catch the Haas. Yeah, Neon has wing damage bad enough that's hurting him in the swimming pool section there. Oh, he's just ripped the entire wing off in this next to last corner, but he's in the pits now at least. Ozda stays out. Flavor now in 5th, and on hard tires. This is looking like it could go well for Flavor today, just like it did in X3. Torpedo has come out, is now behind Kinsey. Kinsey on fresh mediums, Torpedo on worn mediums. These two have been fine hit and miss throughout the day. Oh, and Kinsey has tapped the inside wall, smashed the outside wall, and he's out of it. And Kinsey Retro is out of the race. Oh, that's right in the racing line as well. Oh, and Jan has just hit him. Jan didn't see him coming, and Jan has run to the back of him. Jan can't seem to move. Jan's car is trapped. Oh, now the car despawned, so he's able to move now. But Kinsey is out of it. So this now will promote Flavor up into the 4th position. So everything just kind of keeps falling into Flavor's hands today. Mr. Neon? No, is that Breezy who's just had an accident? Yes, Breezy has had an accident, trying to come into pit lane himself now. He'll barely make it back in, and Breezy retiring in the pits, so his day is over as well. Jan pitting out 3rd, being more than 30 seconds ahead of Flavor. He has basically a free pit stop that he can take, and he'll do it now. Get off the mediums to throw on the hards, and he will be running these hards to the end of this race, more than likely. Jan has gone a lap down, so only the top 6 drivers right now are on the lead lap. Herbie running in 6 is likely going to go a lap down shortly here because those soft tires are very burned out. He's going to want to jump onto hards and run them to the end, and this is it. Herbie's coming in the pits, and Ozda in 5th is just pitted as well. So this will put both of them a lap down. Ozda and Herbie will both throw on hard tires to last them to the end of the race. And now, only the top 4 cars are on the lead lap. Flavor, John, Pelly, and Veloce. Pelly is starting to close in on Veloce just a bit, but Pelly keeps catching lap traffic and it's killing his forward momentum. He is nearly, if not a complete, full pit stop ahead of Jabastan. He can afford to pit now, but he's not going to want to. For him, he wants to make these hard tires go as long as possible, and then throw on mediums or dare even softs near the very end. Herbie having trouble there with Air Max. Those two are fighting for their own position, and they will be a little bit faster than Pelly for a bit here. Already they're trying to get away from him. Oh wow, look at that! They're gonna make a move side by side, and the Williams gets by the Alfa Romeo. Air Max by Herbie, and now Herbie has to back out, and Pelly gets by them. Incredible job. Air Max now into 7th, and Veloce pitting out of the lead at a time when Pelly is caught behind lap traffic and he was able to extend his lead by 2 seconds in the process. Max gets a penalty for ignoring the blue flag despite the fact that he's faster than Pelly. That's honestly bullcrap, but I believe it. That happens. Sadly, more often than it should. Veloce, though, coming out of pit lane, once again, clean track ahead and behind him. So this is still going well into Veloce's hands. He'll be able to run these hards to the end, and with no real traffic ahead, shouldn't be an issue. Herbie now back behind the Williams as the Williams has had to move aside for the AlphaTauri. Makes a dive! And he gets squeezed into the wall, and somehow the front suspension survived that squeeze. I honestly thought that front suspension was going to crunch itself there, but it did not. Herbie still running behind Air Max, trying to figure out a way by. Air Max has time penalties. Herbie does not, so that is a small advantage in Herbie's favor. Also, Herbie is on tires that will last him to the end. Max will have to pit sooner rather than later. Oh, and Max has had an accident. Max has lost his front wing. So he will have to pit. Ideally, they'll throw on hards to go to the end of this race. And Neon in 6th is pitting as well, repairing the front wing, and they're putting on used hards on his car. So he will have to pit again right before the race is over, and Ozda has crashed out. Ozda has crashed out in the Nobel chicane. Flavor needs to be careful through here. Oh, wow, and that car has lost its entire, well, half of its front suspension. What in the devil happened there? Coming to the party now is Ozda. Ozda, go ahead and include your audio. Big accident. What happened?
Basically, I just turned in too early, clipped the wall with my front, left, and that was it.
Frustrating to see it work out like that, mate. Next week is Baku. Do you think you'll be able to rebound there?
Hopefully Baku's been one of my good circuits, but honestly, I literally did no practice for this race at all. I've been feeling quite ill all week, so yeah, it was good to get up to like 5th, but yeah, unfortunately that happened, and I lost quite a few wings, so I had to do like 2 pit stops in like 2 laps or whatever. So yeah, hopefully we can bounce back at Baku.
All right, thanks for jumping in and talking with us. Shame to see you knocked out like this.
Thanks.
All right, and then there were 12. Zola is going to have to move aside shortly for Mr. Neon here, as Neon is on a lap count higher than that Haas's. Shikari pitting again. Once again, they're taking off the soft tires and they're throwing on hards. Those hards are what he will run to the end of this race. Once again, we look at Pelly in the lead. Pelly, 19-lap-old hards. So we're getting to the window that Pelly could go ahead, get off the hards, and throw on mediums to the end. Veloce is closing on him with speed, and there are no cars between Veloce and Pelly on track right now. Now, Veloce does have a time penalty, but it's not going to matter because Pelly is just so far ahead of him right now. Veloce is going to be so far ahead of Pelly when Pelly does pit. And Veloce is so far ahead of Jabus Kelton that he's not going to factor in either. The fight's going to be for second between Pelly and Jabus. And those two, Pelly and Jabus, are 2 of your championship contenders as well. Veloce has actually just set the fastest lap on those hard tires. So for the Haas team, it's looking like we'll be a no points day unless a lot of other drivers still in the top 11 crash out. Zola nearly a full lap behind the rest of the field at least. And Airmax is just at the fastest lap because he is on softs right now. Obviously, those softs aren't going to make it to the end. Once those softs are burned up, he'll probably throw on mediums to the end of the race. We're also waiting to see when Torpedo is going to get off of his mediums and probably go to another set of mediums to go to the end himself. Yun has gotten back onto the lead lap, but only barely. He is on hard tires, and right now he is in position. They should be able to go to the end, and barely, but will be able to stay on the lead lap. Veloce, though, has caught Pelly on the circuit, and this is going to be a little bit frustrating for Veloce, because Pelly is the man that he's been fighting for a lead of this race, and the more and more Pelly holds up Veloce, the more and more it's going to reduce Veloce's lead over him. Now, Veloci's still going to be a full pit stop of distance ahead of Pelly, but it's going to be frustrating knowing that his speed is going to be tampered down badly by XRL Pelly there. Down to 8 tenths for the lead. Now, Veloce doesn't have to overtake Pelly, but his time is being compromised by this. The only good news for Veloce is that there is a likelihood, with the way this is going, that when Pelly does pit, he might end up behind Jabus John, and those two may end up fighting with each other, and that will let Veloce extend the gap back out, and Pelly is pitting out of the lead now. So Veloce re-inherits the top spot. It won't be quite like what we saw in the X3 race where it was a flag-to-flag victory, but that's only because of the different way the strategy played out. They're throwing on the medium tires for the AlphaTauri. Where is he going to end up in relation to Jabus John? John coming through the final corners now. He is on hards that will make it to the end. Pelly is on mediums that will be faster. Their ability to make it to the end will be a little bit more questionable, but Pelly is still well ahead of Jabus. Pelly is, in fact, 19 seconds behind Veloce and will be on fresher rubber, so he's going to have to try and overtake this lap traffic ahead to catch up to Veloce before the end of this race, and maybe hope that by virtue of not having time penalties and by virtue of having fresher rubber and faster rubber, he can steal the win from Veloce. I don't see it happening, but that's his only hope right now. Because for Veloce, there is nobody ahead of him for a long period of time, and 5th place Yun, who is the next person he's catch, is turning laps generally comparable to what Veloce is doing. Pelly's already caught Mr. Neon on the circuit. Sha'Carri pitting out of 11th, or has pitted out of 11th. It's looking like Sha'Carri is not going to have any chance to get by Lowe, so Lowe seems to be locked into a points-paying position. And Pelly easily gets by Neon. Next up on the list will be Torpedo. Gap's a little bit larger between himself and Torpedo right now, though. John 3.8 seconds behind the AlphaTauri at the moment. But the field has pretty much calmed down at this point. We're down to just 12 drivers, and everyone's relatively spread out, kind of running their own race. Top 5 are the only ones on the lead lap. And I believe 6th through 10th are all on their own lap, and then Sha'Carri's a lap behind them. I think Zola's barely on the same lap as Sha'Carri. Pelly's already closed in behind the Red Bull. And we'll hope that Torpedo moves out of the way sooner rather than later for his sake. It's been a very rough day for the Red Bull team. The fact that Torpedo is still in the points-paying position is honestly amazing. And there we are. Torpedo moves aside, so now Pelly has nobody between himself and Herbie. Herbie, though, is a lap down, but he is on Veloce's lap, and he will likely be working in Veloce's favor. And it's a 20-second gap, and there's only about 14 laps left, unless unless Pelly can put together some incredible laps, I don't see any way he's actually going to get by Veloce. Unless fuel management becomes an issue, but everyone kind of assumed that there wouldn't be yellow flags in this race because the game is broken and won't turn it on at Monaco. So, I think everyone's properly fueled today. Neon behind Torpedo. Fight for 7th position. Both of them have time penalties. Torpedo, though, will have to pit. Neon does not. Neon has tires that go to the end for him. Also, no Air Max in 9th will have to pit and get off those softs at some point. He'll probably try to stretch these softs out as far as he can to get onto another set of softs, and that's Shikari who moves aside for them. And that was the Alpine of Davis Don, who's also hoping that something happens to Pelly so he can nick 2nd place on the podium from him. And Neon moves aside now. Well, not moves aside. It looks like more like he just kind of lost pace. And there we are. Herbie has just pitted, so there is something wrong with Herbie. He has taken damage. This is good news, though, for Pelly, because now it is clear track between himself and Veloce. The bad news, though, is that he's still 19 seconds out and is not closing by any measure. Herbie falls to 8th now. Air Max stays out another lap. Will actually end up ahead of Herbie for a moment. Interesting enough, Herbie, they threw on soft tires. But those softs are not going to last 13 laps. So, I don't know how great that strategy was. They may be betting on... I hate to say it, but they may be betting on Herbie crashing again. Flavor pitting out 4th. And they'll throw on the mediums. He has had a silent and strong day today. Sadly for him, just due to where he is on the racetrack, he is now going to go a lap down to Veloce. But still, 5th is nothing to sneeze at when he is an X3 driver just reserving for X2. Look at this bobble. Oh, well, just as I said that, it ended as Davis, John, and Shikari both pitted at the same time. This is bad news for John because he has lost his front wing. They have to take off the hards. They put on softs. I don't know if those softs are going to last the remaining 12 laps, but now he has to somehow stay ahead of Yun, who is in 4th. Herbie gets a time penalty. Shikari had to pit again. Now Shikari may be at risk of losing his position to Zola, although Zola's going to have to pit to get off these softs sooner rather than later. So it might not matter that much. Lowe still barely in the points-paying positions, but Yun is now closing on John, and John is going to be playing a really risky game trying to make soft tires last to the end here. Air Max will still have to pit soon to get onto another set of soft tires. When he does, he will fall behind Lowe. Not too worried about Shikari, but Air Max is still fighting for 9th against Lowe. Thing is, Lowe is on hard tires that are really not good compared to Air Max once he's on softs, but overtaking is so hard here. Lowe has time penalties, though Air Max is not, so Air Max, if he times this right, could still end up in 9th position. He'll likely pit either on lap 29 or 30. This is Veloce, who has caught lap traffic. That is Yun, who is in 4th. So Yun's actually still on the lead lap, but not for much longer. Veloce is about to put him a lap down. This will be the first time that I think Pelly will see the gap between himself and Veloce close at all today. Yun's staying out on track. He knows that he has tires that can make it to the end, but he will have to let the Alfa Romeo go, otherwise get penalized for ignoring blue flags. There it is. Yun now falls off the lead lap, so only the top 3 drivers still on the lead lap, and Pelly actually lost time, so Veloce actually extended the gap in the process. Yeah, that's because Pelly was held up by Zola. Carey still struggling himself. Torpedo pitting as they're taking off the mediums and throwing on the softs, and he will run those softs to the end, and Air Max is finally stopped. We are expecting they'll throw on another set of soft tires in the Williams camp to go to the end. Front wing damage, that's going to hurt him a bit. Make the stop a little bit longer than he wants it to. Air Max comes back onto the circuit. He's going to be behind Torpedo. Torpedo has his teammate Shakira behind him, but he's not going to factor. Torpedo behind Low by just 2 seconds. And Air Max is going to be behind both of them with a bunch of speed as well. And that's Torpedo. He stepped aside to let a car on a higher lap go by. So Low now has to hold off Torpedo as Torpedo is on softs and Low is on hards. So this will be a spirited fight to the end here. And the longer these two fight, it will bring Air Max potentially into the fray with 9 laps to go. How aggressively is the Torpedo chase to get by Low? Because Jabez John is ahead, and John is on soft tires as well. So he'll be gapping these guys. So if Torpedo can get by, he'll be in good clean air to the end of this race. Looking for room in the swimming pool section, but we all know you can't overtake there. You can go side by side through there if the other person gives you room. A big mistake by Low, and that's all Torpedo needed. He's by. McLaren has a good run coming out of the corner. The Red Bull has DRS as a defense. McLaren can't make a run into Sainte Devote, and that is perfect for Torpedo. Didn't work out quite as well for Air Max as he wanted, but he did close the gap from 13 seconds to 10.8 against Low, and will try to continue to close as that McLaren is still struggling with Shakari, who's a lap down but way faster, trying to figure out a way by. Man, Low does not look happy on those tires. The gap at the front has stayed steady at about 19 to 20 and a half seconds ever since Pelly has made his stop. So Pelly seems to match times with Veloce when he's on fresher mediums compared to Veloce's older hards. So yeah, it's been an absolute race of pace, and Low will actually step aside to let Shakari by. Oh, and Low smashes the wall. Is there damage on the car? Shakari now has a time penalty for track violations. But is there damage on Low's machine? There is, and that is perfect. Air Max will go back into ninth. And Herbie's crashed out. Herbie has crashed out, coming out. Herbie has crashed out, coming out of Casino. Oh, that's just barely off the racing line. And Herbie, another run where he was having a respectable race, and it all comes to an end. Frustration. And this will put Low back into the points-paying positions, though. Everyone now with double-digit second gaps between each other at this point in the event. And Low has just ripped off his entire front wing, so this race is falling apart for the McLaren team as well. Is that an AlphaTauri in the wall? Yes, it is! Pelly, who has been running second all day, has had an accident coming out of Casino as well. Oh, and this is going to have major championship implications as your points leader has an accident, and Jabez John is in third and will likely take second now. This also means, I'm not saying it will happen, but there's a possibility now that Veloce could have the entire field lapped. Not a guarantee, but it is now a possibility because Pelly is going to have to nurse this wounded, damaged AlphaTauri around. And everything has gone wrong for Pelly. Sha'Carri now in the points-paying position, but just barely. So it will be a fight between Sha'Carri and Zola for the last points-paying spot on the grid. But it looks like Sha'Carri has the advantage for now. Pelly pitting out of second. This will promote Jabez John up into the second position, more than likely, with those soft tires. Out of the final corner, and yeah, this is it. John is going to end up in second ahead of Pelly and will close the points gap just by a small amount. Pelly will just barely stay on the lead lap over Veloce. So still 3 drivers on the lead lap, but this has gone very bad for Pelly at this point in the race. 6 laps to go. John has to nurse his soft tires to the end. But now, if he does, he will bring home a second place finish. All the other gaps in the grid are double digits or higher. Pelly, we know he's going to close on Jabez, but when he catches him, will he be able to overtake him? Pelly does have a Red Bull ahead that he will have to navigate and deal with. He is 7 seconds out from Jabez right now with 3 seconds left. We know those stops are going to be fast. John is nursing his tires because he does not know if those tires will be able to make it to the end. It's a big risk. He obviously is confident enough to do it, but it's going to be a big risk. I think the AlphaTauri is going to catch the rear of that Alpine in the final sector on the final lap. Where does that Red Bull move aside for the AlphaTauri? Right there. On the main straight. Pelly will definitely appreciate that. .7 seconds. 6 2/3 now. Also of note, as we look at time penalties, Lowe has 9 seconds, but he's too far away for it to factor in. Sha'Carri has 6 seconds, too far away from everyone else to factor in. Zola, Neon, Torpedo, and Veloce all have 3 seconds, but again, everyone's just too far away for penalties to really matter at this point. Pelly has already cut it down to 6 seconds against John. We're at 3.5 laps to go. That was Mr. Neon pulling aside to let Jabez come by. John on the lead lap, still faster than Neon for the moment, but he is hemorrhaging time to Pelly. Pelly will have to navigate the Aston Martin as well, but the gap is now down to 5 seconds at the line. Pelly has just actually set the fastest lap of the race, so Pelly trying to recover from his self-inflicted accident and still get second position. Less than 5 seconds now. But I don't know if he's going to be able to get by him. He's going to catch him. But neither of them have time penalties, so the advantage in track position will go to Jabez. But John's tires continue to get worse and worse. Sha'Carri paying out of 10th. Trying to go for fastest lap point. He is far enough ahead of Zola that he can do that safely without issue. Jabez, speaking of which, has just caught Zola on the racetrack. Zola will move aside to let Jabez pass. So now Pelly has 2 lap cars to deal with. An Aston Martin and a Haas. Ooh, wow, Aston Martin pulled aside a very risky part, but Pelly didn't care. He sent it by anyway. Haas ahead now. Gap's down to 4.4 seconds. 4.5 seconds. So yeah, Pelly is not closing fast enough. It looks like this battle will work out in the favor of John. Torpedo is catching Mr. Neon. In the time penalties, they both are up 3 seconds. Veloce is paying out of the lead. And this could put Yun back on the lead lap. Veloce is going to jump in, throw on some soft tires, and go for fastest lap point. Yun will obviously be happy with that. This puts him back on the lead lap. Less than 4 seconds between John and Pelly. He can see the Alpine ahead. He needs to figure out a way by him, though, once he catches him. Less than 4 seconds. John's tires burnt out. Pelly recovering from an accident that was self-inflicted. Two laps to go at the line. It's a 3-second gap between John and Pelly. Again, Pelly's going to catch John, but it's going to be in the last sector of the last lap. I don't know if he's going to be able to get by him. Zola pits as well now. So Shikari is going to lock up the point for 10th place finish. Zola trying to go for fastest lap point. Torpedo's close on Neon has stalled out at about 4 seconds right now. Oh, and Zola gets a time penalty for crossing the white line pit lane exit. And Pelly's charge on Javis has stalled out at about 2.5 seconds now. So Pelly may have already burnt up all the best off these tires. That might be it. I think this fight for second has been decided in Javis's favor officially. Young's going to be very happy he finished on the lead lap. I'll say that much for sure. Gap, a little less than 2 seconds. So Pelly is still closing, but the rate that he's closing at is dropping. John just trying to nurse these tires to the end. Those tires are going to be in a really bad position. Zola moves aside for Veloce. Veloce's attempts at fastest lap times have been compromised by lap traffic. Right now, fastest lap overall goes to Pelly, who is in third. And there it is. Veloce goes to the top, 111.1. Pelly is within a second, just a second, of Jabez John. White flag is in the air, so Pelly will have one shot to try and use DRS on the Alpine, or he'll have to try and muscle by him somewhere else on the track on a pure driver skill overtake. He's within 3/4, he was within 2/3 of a second. So John's tires are very much dead. DRS engages for the AlphaTauri. Closing down the straight. But Zandvoort is not a good place to try and make a move. Uphill. It's iconic. It's so iconic through here, but it's not great for overtaking unless you're already side by side. Pelly is still right there behind the Alpine. Veloce coming out of the swimming pool section. He's going to easily walk off with this win. Not quite flag to flag lead, but he has been without doubt the dominant car. This is where the fight is. John really sideways out of the hairpin, but he still has the position. Track position is keen. He just needs to control the car. They're coming into the tunnel section. John had a good exit. Pelly can't get by. Same thing we saw at the end of the X3 race, we see repeating here. Pelly had second place, but threw it away from a self-inflicted accident. This is where he's the strongest against Jabez. He closes in, back within 1/3 of a second again. Has to back out, still closing in because the Alpine's tires are so bad. Last 2 corners, final run, final corner. Here comes Pelly, there's nowhere to go. And at the line, Jabez John will hold on to close in the championship fight by a few points. John takes home second, Pelly third. Yun 4th, Flavor gets 5th, Neon 6th, 7th will go to Torpedo, 8th will go to Air Max, but just barely. 9th will go to Low, 10th will go to Shikari. Actually, oh wow, Neon actually falls behind Yun and Flavor on time penalties in the end. Oof. So Yun ends up in 4th apparently. Okay. And that will conclude the race. Trying to see if any of our podium finishers will be willing to talk with us post-race. A fantastic drive, though, by Veloce. Well, all right, so it looks like none of our... Oh, no, here we are. All right, coming to the party is XRL Pelly. Pelly, go ahead, include your audio. Started second, finished third. Can you hear me? All right, go ahead and make sure your audio is included. So, in the end, you come home third. You could have finished second, but a self-inflicted accident drops you down. What do you have to say about the race overall? All right, next week is Baku. Do you think you can back this finish up with another podium there? All right, well, great job, Pelly, out there. Shame it could have been better, but great job here regardless. We look forward to seeing you with another strong run next week. All right, our winner and our second place finisher have decided not to talk with us. Kind of a shame. I did want to hear what Veloce had to say, but it was a great job by Pelly. It was a great job by Veloce as well. And it was just, in general, our podium finishers did an absolutely fantastic job out there. But that will wrap up our broadcast here at Monaco. Next week will be the runs at Baku. Until that time, though, I've been your host, Insane Leader 13. Thank you very much for watching our broadcast today. Signing off, and goodbye.